Good morning. January 3rd. We're trucking right along. Mm-mm-mm. Another amazing protest yesterday. That was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that. Um, Huzzah to everybody out there busting their butt. That was really fun. And of course, Aaron and my beautiful Cheryl for making sure many thousands of people got to enjoy it. That was a uh, that was a fantastic protest. Mm-mm-mm. Hope everyone's doing well. Hi, hey girl. Nobody's up. I should be asleep. Truth is, I was very comfortable. Yeah, 40 minutes ago, and I was like, I could easily snore right through. So I get it. I get it. Rennie, good morning, and hi, Rennie's mom. Force, so good to see you. Happy Saturday morning. It is cold here. I don't know what it is, 45 or something. Anything below 55, I've realized I'm freezing to death. It doesn't really matter. So, hi, Cheryl. David, good morning. Sir Elston Gunn, made man around these parts, multiple time made man. Thank you so much for being here, Elston. So nice to see you. Uh, oh my God, Rennie's mom is asleep. I don't blame her at all. Grandma Janet, New Jersey, 18 degrees. Oh my God. Mm, that's freezing. And I mean, that's freezing with no wind at all. That's just freezing. Like if you have a wind going, that could just drop you where you stand. I mean, that's just ridiculous. I mean, I remember it was so cold in Chicago. I used to go to Chicago um, every February, if you can believe that, how ridiculous that is. Sometimes early March, but normally like February. And I remember one time coming out of the convention center and the wind was whipping so hard and it was so cold. It actually felt like a slap in the face. It really did. It was just like, what the hell is that? Uh, and you can give me the warmest clothes in the world. I can't hang. Like you see those police officers doing traffic in Chicago in a blizzard. How could you possibly stay out there longer than a half hour and not die? That's insane. Oof. Oh my God, David. Yeah, Dave says I took the garbage out last night without a jacket and it was so freaking cold. And I only tried this one time in wintertime in New York. I saw a coffee and bagel dude um, right on the corner. Like, here's my hotel, and it was like right here. Okay, so no joke, like 60 yards. Okay, and I was like, oh man, I could just because coffee. I got a pot of coffee the day before sent to the room, and it was $32 for the coffee. And then there was a gratuity they put on that of 15%. And then there was a room charge. I was like, what the hell does that mean? and that was like $4. And then there was a convenience charge of $2, $3. So anyway, it ended up being, $41 something for 8 ounces of coffee. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. So I said, you know what? I'm just gonna bolt, get a coffee real quick, coffee bagel, take 2 seconds back. And there was one of those doors that that spin around like you see me at Bellagio. And I'm going through the door, and I ran out, and the guy was, who gets you the cabs and stuff, he was right there. And he looked at me like, what the hell are you doing? Because all I had on was a long sleeve shirt, and slacks. And I was just like, I was just going to bolt over and get that coffee. I didn't get 4 steps before I was like, whoa, hauled back. And they were like, yeah, I didn't think that was going to happen. But yeah, I know what you mean, David. That's I think that's commonplace actually. That's so funny. All right, let me get the chat up here. Okay. Oh, Bodie's Beaches. Good morning. Yeah, wasn't that great? Sweater full of BTs. uh, yeah, I freeze within seconds. It's just incredible. I have no ability to handle that. None. I want less of me showing than like a Saudi Arabia, woman. I want like half of that. I don't even. In fact, I just want goggles. What the heck? I don't want nothing. Yeah. Oh, so bad. Okay, guys. So yeah. So this is this is my opinion. These are my feelings that I'm getting off my chest for the people who care about what I think. Okay, as someone who grew up in this horrible, disgusting cult called Scientology, and who was destroyed by it and watched my family systematically destroyed by it. So I'm not here to convince somebody of my way of looking at it. It's just to let you know my way of looking at it. That's it. Totally okay if nobody agrees with me or if everyone agrees with me or whatever. Okay? So that's I'm not this is not propaganda. This is not something that I sit here and do every day, blah blah blah, because I get money for it and super chats. It's for towing the line. This is just, here's my opinion, okay? I came out my very, very first, which I also, to be completely frank, figured there was a good chance could be my only, okay? I figure one or two, depending on how it went, stream I ever did, okay? But my first stream ever was about Rinder, okay? And this is just my opinion, okay? I don't believe that you can do horrible, horrible things for 20 years, okay? Or longer, 25, 30 years. Horrible, awful things. And then just be okay. Just be good. I just don't think it works like that. That's just me, okay? Um, is it possible you pay a price and get and do some amazing work that is so far above and beyond that it makes people believe, and over time, and you keep it up? Yeah, that would make people believe. That would make me believe. But also, when you leave something, evil has everything to do with how I think about you. Okay. I only want to know one thing when you left. Were you the hammer or the nail? If he was crushing it and he left in 2001 because he's like, I just can't be a part of this anymore. I had my 5,000th epiphany. Okay. But when you leave because you're the nail and you get just just a piece of what it is you gave out, I'm just not that impressed. Okay, I'm just not that impressed. So when you left has a lot to do with it. Um, Also, what did you do while you were in and when you left? Did you do any like um I heard Rinder say that he was physically abused by Miscavige multiple times. Okay, that's his business. If he wants to, he can let that happen forever. But he said he saw other people beat up hundreds of times. That was his words. I'm hoping that's just drastic hyperbole. But he said hundreds of times. That's, you have to do something. I can understand me being willing to pay a price. That's my business, okay? But like you're not going to lay a hand on my sister. That's not going to happen. You see, if I'm alive, it's not going to happen. Okay? There's no price I won't pay. So you're not going to, well, I don't care what you're willing to pay, you know. So he witnessed people be beat up hundreds of times. That leads me to believe he's okay with it most of the time. I'm not saying there wasn't some times he might have been like, ooh, boy, you don't have to put the stank on it or, whatever. But that doesn't go well with me. Okay? I'm not okay with that. Uh, if you said, hey, I did what I could, I was in the midst of throwing him out the window when security got me, okay, and they beat the crap out of me and whatever and blah, 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 and I was in the hole for 3 years, okay. I'm just going to respect you that much more. And I'm going to be more inclined to believe that you're going to help if you can, okay. With Leia, because people thought of that King of Queens. It's easy to forget. She's one of 2%. Okay, like how well Remini did. It's there's only people like Scott Baio who can say, hey, hopefully one day you do well. Like, people who never were out of work for a single day in 45 years. But like she is in the top 2-3% of like working because of the money she made on that show. I mean, beyond set for life, okay? Huge, huge money. And year after year after year, okay? So she was incredibly successful just because she wasn't a movie star, she was still incredibly successful, okay? People think of Kevin James when they think of that, but I mean, she was just as important, right, in that show. So let's just get that out of the way. She has massive money, rock star money. Okay. She starts that show, The Aftermath. I understand having Rinder in it, and I was all for it. I'm like, that makes perfect sense. He could speak on a lot of things. And at that time, I was still hoping he was going to be forthright and really be there to help everybody, which turned out to not be the case. In fact, he sat on stuff to make sure he never got in trouble, And when pushed, the only things he didn't know about were the same things that could have hurt him. So it's just, come on, again, right? So could those things be true? Sure. Do I believe that? Not even a tiny bit. Um, and Leia, like, she doesn't know if this show's going to be a huge runaway hit or not, right? I mean, a multiple Emmy producing hit, runaway hit. It made millions of dollars. Okay, um, she could have got all her money back. Like this was a vehicle for her to recoup every penny she ever gave Scientology back. Okay, even though she didn't need it, but you know what I'm saying. Um, but she knew one thing before this show started, when she was creating this show. Okay, is there is no show without the survivors' stories. Okay. And she knew that the impact of those stories and how easy they were to convey and for people to believe and how quickly people would be touched. No one could ever, with pen, come up with something that good every week. Okay. The truth will always, be the most interesting. And she also saw firsthand and witnessed herself just the power those stories had. She could feel them herself. And so every week she's crying her eyes out, right? She knows everyone at home is, okay? She's got a monster hit on her hands. And one thing she knows about every last person that she spoke with is, well, not every, but darn near, you know, they're people that don't have money. They're just normal people, right? Don't have any kind of cash. They were paid nothing. um, I'm all for it. I would call this 100% charitable, even though it's not going to be near that when I explain it. But I would be perfectly awesomely okay with. I would have been like, wow, that's so amazing. And I would even be like, she gave all the money to blah, blah, blah. What she should have done, in my opinion, as an incredibly wealthy person, okay, is to say, these people, I can't get them back. I can't, there's nothing I can do for them. You know, what happened to them happened, okay? But for them having the courage to come on this show, okay, for them to have the courage and to share that and be willing to share that, to help take down the place that I'm here to take down. I'm not here for money. I'm here to take it down, right? I'm here to watch them just keep shrinking into oblivion and be done. So, instead of just taking that attitude, which I don't know how you wouldn't, and say, you know what I'm going to do? Surprise these people. Everyone gets a check for, 250 grand. Merry Christmas. And she could have just literally taken right off the top whatever it cost to make the show, no problem. To give Rinder a ridiculous salary, per show, and then take the rest and whack it up, give half to Leia, and then whack the rest up with however many people were in that season, okay? And whether it's 100 grand or 500 grand, whatever, okay? These shows make an enormous amount of money, and they do it. They'll make whatever they made while we saw them live. They're making it 2-3 times again on Netflix. The money is insane. Okay, the people watch the hell out of that show. People watch the hell out of it, and for her never to think, how about I just cut these people in, or even with something absolutely paltry and insulting like 50 grand, just to be like, as an acknowledgement. Hey, thanks. I know this is nothing, but it hopefully gets you a vacation or something. Go to Disneyland, on us. I mean, thank you so much for helping, fight this horrible cult. But she was okay just sleeping on that monster pile of cash. And it's just disgusting. Does it still does the show still go, and did it still do a ton of good? And am I still grateful it was there? Of course. What does that have to do with this not of this being done in a way that I find despicable? I find gross. Just gross. Okay? Just gross. So there's such a disconnect. People don't care who are on that stratosphere, especially in a cult. They don't know what the little guy does, And just because she was in the Sea Org for 2 months, when she was 16, so what? You know how long ago that was? What is she, 55, 6? What? She doesn't have any, I've heard this many times. It only takes 10 years. You could take the most broke person on the planet, give them $10 million, make sure, just cover everything, right? And in 10 years, they will have no recollection of what it was like to be busted. That's all it takes, let alone 40 or so. I'm saying people, they'll like to tell, I came from this and that. They don't even remember what the hell. Okay, I mean, I've told you guys this. There's Scientology for celebrities and there's Scientology for schmucks. I'm a schmuck. I can tell you exactly how it is for schmucks. Okay. I also know that, like, you get away with murder as a celebrity in Scientology. Okay, like, figuratively speaking. I'm saying but who knows? But like, if you just don't feel good, if you're just tired, you're just run down, they'll understand. They'll go get you some goofy drinks that you need with this and a scoopful of that. Get a masseuse up there, okay? Get you in the jacuzzi, get you in the sauna, nerve assist. How you feel? Here's some oxygen, and let's get them tomorrow. Here's a wonderful dinner for you. It's hysterical, okay? You get no bennies when you're a schnuck. It's an ethics matter. How come you're not fully rested and well rested and well fed? What the hell's your problem? That's what you would get. You see the difference? You see how there's a big difference? So, like, and even the way that they talk about regular people, like, I heard just a horrible recording. The content was horrible. The recording was fantastic. Of Remini, it was someone who worked for Remini or J-Lo as an assistant. I used to be a Remini assistant. That's what I think it was. And they were talking, and Remini was cool, and Remini was giving her 90 grand a year. And then the subject of assistants came up, and J-Lo was there, and J-Lo was talking to Remini about that, and asked, "What do you pay yours?" Right, which is such an incredibly horrible thing to ask. Like, excuse me, I'm standing here. Oh my God, that's so ridiculous. Okay, but what do you pay your assistant? Remini says 90, and J-Lo goes, "Oh my God, I paid mine 50. You never pay more than 50. That's insanity. Like, you could have just fired me for all you know. You could have just cost me my gig." but it's just it's not even an afterthought because you're just and then the parties that J Lo has, you know, the help can come refill the drinks. They stay in a house down the street, and when you need your drinks refilled, one of them comes up and they come and and give you some more finger foods, and then they have to get off the property again. It's just so ridiculous. This is how this is. I've seen with my own eyes how celebrities, how some believe the hype, and uh, it's gross. Okay. Um, and another thing is, Remini's best friend is J Lo. She said so. It's for years and years and years and years and years. Well, she's the only person with something good to say about J Lo on Earth, and she knows exactly what J Lo is up to because best friends talk. That's what they do. And so she knows all about every last thing there is to know about. And she's obviously okay with it because they're still friends. Okay. None of these signs are good. Does it mean anything? No. It could mean absolutely nothing. But do I believe that? Not for a second. So, the show did a lot of good. Okay. I was so happy that show was on the air. Okay. Um, but I've also now been privy to what's happened, you know, since then to now, right? And I think it's really, really obvious to anyone cares, you know, who those people really are at this point. Who one is and who one was. Okay. So um, if I was Remini, all I would have cared about was that I was able to strike a meaningful blow against a horrible cult. And I never could have got it done without the people who were brave enough to come on and to share that with the whole planet. Okay. To make truckloads of money and and keep it is fascinating to me. It's fascinating. um, and sure enough, the people that actually created the show, who made the show work, made the show successful, and made her every dollar, are now on her crap list, because obviously they know what Rinder didn't do that would have supported them in one of the most important things in their life, right? So those things aren't going to be forgiven. And it's the same way that, by the way, like I've always felt about Shelley Miscavige. I know it's like, poor Shelley, poor Shelley. I never once ever thought poor Shelley. Okay? I'll never say, poor Joe Dirt for going out with the disgusting one for a year and a half. Okay? What do you think I'm going to say about someone going out with being married to Miscavige during all of his absolute, complete insanity, lies, and nonsense, and has no problem with it? I mean, she was his hitman. Why would I think she's okay? You can't marry Darth Vader and expect me to be okay with you. It just doesn't work. Oh, that's Mitzi Vader. Yeah, she's cool. No, she's not. No, she's not. I mean, that's my personal belief. Okay, you guys can buzzy up to whoever the hell you like, and more power to you. You know, you know why people like myself and um, and many of you would never have been able to work for OSA? Two reasons. Okay. We never would have done the things we needed to do. We would have been absolutely unwilling to do the things we would have needed to do to stay there. That's number one. And number two, we would have either gotten killed or probably had to kill somebody just based on having to protect people from getting beat up hundreds of times. I'm throwing that little bastard out the window, and I probably got to do 30 years in jail afterwards, right? If you were at Gold Base and you saw him just smashing teeth, he's not beating up anyone, okay? With me standing there, that ain't happening. He's flying right off the balcony. So, um, you see what I'm saying? I could never be in it. They would have ran me over with the dump truck. Okay. I don't know how to be a little bit pregnant. You follow me? And this idea that, can you do some good? Absolutely, you can do some good. And am I proud of you during those times you are doing some good? Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Okay. Um, but did he step up, when he really could have made a huge difference in some people's lives? No. So, and again, if you leave when you're the nail, it's going to take you a lot longer, just like, the stinky one got rid of JD. JD didn't leave. See, that's not a good thing. That's not a brown. I don't give brownie points for that. Someone told you to hit the skids, and now you're like, that person sucks. Well, no kidding. We were telling you that for a year and a half. You knew that, while you didn't protect anybody who was getting what? Crapped all over. The survivors who were getting lied about. JD could have easily stopped that from happening. Didn't do a thing. You follow me? So you can't come out and then act like, oh, I'm anti-sign. No, you're not. You're a joke. Okay? So, you know, that's the reality. That's the reality. Okay? Um, and you know, to name to name something, the Darth Vader Foundation, for those who want to escape from the Emperor, is just one of the most clumsy, ridiculous things I've ever seen. And God bless them. I don't care. But and you know what? I hope there's 50 groups out there at some point that support anybody in a bad spot, whether it be SIO or whatever these other crazy places, excuse me, are, okay? And that can help you leave. I'm just giving you my opinion. Like I said, I'm not going to then talk about it tomorrow and the next day 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 and the next day, you know, trying to stir people up for super chats, all right? But of course, I know that that's not. Like I said, if I wanted to see it rain, I would just crap all over Aaron for a month, and then you would see just it literally raining super chats, right? But none of them would be from the good people, and none of you guys would be here, and you guys are the only people I'm here for. Okay, it would be people no one knows, right? They're called BS accounts, and that's how OSA pays everybody. It's really easy. And then how do you know you're on the right narrative? Because they keep flying in. Um, so like again, I'm not talking about I'm not even that hardcore in truth about my feelings. It's just that I don't think you guys realize how hardcore OSA is and or was for definitely was, okay. Um Now today it makes more sense for them just to don't do anything that creates a stir. That's why you're not going to see Cardone suing AA Run. Okay, it would make $50 million worth of bad press for them. It'd be the dumbest thing they ever did ever, right? So it's they know where their bread is buttered right now. They just want, So they don't need to be in big fights. But back then, to destroy families, I don't know if you guys can feel me here, okay? But to destroy families, to know that someone's because of you and your BS power trip and control, need to control and uh, promote your narrative at all costs, you're going to cost someone his family. You're going to cost someone their future. Okay? You're going to cost them the people who actually mean something, who will actually be there no matter what. You're going to cost them everything. And you're willing to do that. You're sick. You're a very sick person. Okay? If you're willing to support people who do that, you're very, very sick. If you're willing to fight against people who fight against that, you're very, very sick. Okay? That's the truth. Ask 1,000 people who aren't mentally ill and they'll all say the same thing. Um, wow, Joel, that's amazing. Um, so yeah, it's again, that's just me. You can ask a bunch of other people, you'll get a bunch of other answers, and I'm okay with the people who have those feelings. I'm totally okay with it. I'm not expecting anyone to feel the way I do. I just feel this is how I feel without having to shake it up or think about it. It's just boom, how I feel. Okay. Um, if you were like, yeah, when I was a kid, I used to, I sold coke for 3 months because I needed to get a car, da 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 da, and pay for college, because of blah blah, and then my mom needed medicine and whatever, whatever, bro. Moving on, okay. Especially if you're willing to give it up and you're not ashamed. It wasn't something you did that you didn't even believe it was shameful, you know. I mean, you knew it was, but I'm saying you were just like, this is just to meet a goal, boom, bang, done. Whatever, okay. Um, but if you can do horrible, horrible things, unspeakably horrible things to me, in my eyes, in my estimation, they're unspeakably horrible to destroy families and split them apart and splinter them in such a way as there's no way to recover them. If you're willing to do that and worse, okay, and not just for a summer, not just for a year or two or a decade, but 2 decades? Come on. At what point? What's the point of discernment? If I'm okay with that, what's the point? Hell, do whatever you want to, man. I'll give you another. Hey, I forgive everything. Sure, why not? Why not? Sure. We're out of people, I guess, because I'm giving you a shot. So yeah, another shot. Yeah, shit. That's not me. That's not me. Okay. I will, when there's no one left on the planet and I need a hand, then I'll get around to those people. Okay. But that's just me. Okay. And then there was one other thing that I can't, come on. Okay. Aaron gave him a job and taught him how to do it. Do you have any idea how amazing that is? Like that's the most amazing thing you're ever going to hear if he just got out of the SO, okay? I'm gonna get you a job, make you money, and I'm gonna show you how to do it. Holy crap, okay? And plug you in. What more can someone do, man? What more can someone do? And guess what? I could see that person who lived a certain way for over 2 decades reappear at times until his passing. And that's probably why I don't personally care to deal with those people. Okay. If you've attacked or sat on your hands while someone that you support attacked everyone who was fighting Scientology, why would I trust you or care about you? That's just so crazy to me. Well, people change. No, 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 no. People don't do that. I don't do that. I've never done that. I'm 57. I've never done it once. What are you talking about? I would never support people attacking anti-Scientologists. And then say I'm anti-Scientology. That's so ridiculous. Oh man, let's see what you guys are saying. Marcia Smith, good morning, dear. Scientology destroys families, but new families are being created. Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you, Eric, for rolling up on what's his face on Hubbard Lane. Oh man. Rennie, let's see. The key to that line. Oh, you guys are so sweet. Um, See, Joel McCoy, like as nice as you can get. They don't build him any nicer than Joel McCoy. Okay. Um, he did not last long. He was a real short timer. I wanted to like him. I was aware of COS and wanted to be kind, but he was an arrogant ass even then. See, I mean, um, and you can tell. Okay, like I've touched on this, but I haven't really gone at length on it either. But it does blow my mind. It blows my mind that there are a lot of people. I don't need to name them. If you go around the community, I think it's pretty. You can see it. But people who were in high up positions, right, like have this, like, okay, now that you're not in the cult and you realize it's 100% BS, all nonsense. You agree it's nonsense. I'm not talking about people like, Mark and Linda, I think, and I like them, by the way. I'm not referring to them at all. They're nice people. But I'm saying there are some that are very egotistical in my eyes, okay? And they have that air that's like, because I was here, now that we're not in, like if you got 50 people together that were all ex-SO, to me their opinions are all exactly as valid as each other. Like you're all the same. You all studied crap. Who cares who studied more crap? I studied crap for 12 years. Oh, I only studied it for 4. Okay. I concede. What are you talking about? Like, it makes no difference. In fact, I think you might be more valuable to the group in some discussions if you were only there for 5 years than if you were there for 25. You know? So anyway, I think you need it all, right? But the point is, you didn't do the BS rundown. Okay, so what? What is that, a joke? Who cares? What? You know, you didn't walk around a pole for 3 months. Sounds good to me, you know. So, but there is like even a hierarchy in their minds, like because the thing is they can still talk about things that the person that worked at the galley who didn't have much training is not going to understand. And in Scientology, you sort of look at that as like that's a low confront, low having this, train wreck of a being, because who the fuck wants to make French fries and cut up salads for, when you could be up here, class 8 in your way to whatever, right? And it's just a real, there's a real gross, that, and I see it, you know. One of those kind of people came up to me, if you guys recall, on one of my streams, and was surprised they didn't know me. And actually, as a flex, said they worked at a secret base for 30 years. And I was just like, I'm sorry, Like, what is that? I mean, am I supposed to be like, oh, wow, so you know abracadabra? How does it go? I don't give a shit. Do you know the inside cognition for for OT9? Do you know? I don't want to know. I don't give a shit. I have a harder time. Like, I've put all that information into the wood chipper because it's worthless. Can I remember shit? Of course. But I mean, it's like, do you think I care anymore what line from LRH I heard, like what tape it came from, or what series, or like it was from the BS series, Volume 3. What? Who cares? It's just garbage. And if I butcher a sentence, it probably has more truth in it than if I would have said it verbatim. But yeah, there's a weird thing that happens there. It's a really weird thing. Like, we know da 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 da. Yeah, but it's all bullshit. So what? What does that mean? But I think it's because it's so hard to give up. It's so hard to just do what I did, which was say everything I studied was crap. If I was a triple professor historian, and then whoever holds the keys said, here's the real books of what actually happened, I would be instantly bummed at first, right? I'd be like, oh my God, where can I get the L on my forehead tattooed, in neon green? But when I recovered from that, probably do some heavy drinking for a weekend. And then I'd be like, okay, let me get started on the actual history. But at that point, I would absolutely just dismantle and chuck everything and start fresh, because it's all nonsense, right? But people have a really hard time doing that. You became a ninja, okay, an absolute ninja, and bullshit-oo, okay, and so what? It's like Steven Seagal's that BS martial art that he studied. You could not beat up a 12-year-old with that shit. He would be helpless and on the ground being pummeled within seconds by anybody. Okay, you actually have to like give him your thumb and a finger and go like this and jump for any of that crap to work. There's a YouTube, by the way, if you don't believe me, there's a Aikido master, okay, like 20 years every day, all day, right? And he went just for the hell of it, just to see himself, which I gave him so much credit for, just to see for himself as a black belt. I think he's probably 30 years old, but he'd been doing it for long enough to have his black belt, right? And he went to just an MMA gym and just got in the cage with a normal dude, just a regular guy. and instantaneously was helpless as a newborn. Could do absolutely nothing. So call the cops. So, the point is, you could call yourself a seventh degree Dan in Aikido. It just like it can be an OT8 class 12 L's completion in Scientology. And it's not worth the gum, in a baseball cards thing. It's just, so what? I'm okay with that because it's the truth. It's what it is. It's like I can't change it. It's what it is, right? But a lot of people have a huge problem with that. Huge problem. Um, Put me in the galley or the deep freezer. I would have done the exact same thing as Natalie and just stayed low key, boy. Low key. Low and slow. Let me cruise on by with the Swedish meatballs. I don't want any part of all that nonsense. Hell with that. Um, Hi, Kanani. Hi, Ginger. So good to see you. Happy New Year. Diana Lynn. Rinder's most egregious omission was not shouting from the rooftops about the look back window. Yeah, he literally waited till it was over and then said it was his most proud moment. I mean, so come on. I mean, what do you need? I mean, hello? There is no explaining that away. You are absolutely right, Diana Lynn. And like I said, I'm just letting my feelings come out. I'm not, believe me, I'm totally good with anyone who doesn't agree. Like I said, it's totally cool and you have every right to feel however you feel. Those are my feelings. Um, Callie Dessa Donna, awesome. So good to see you. Thanks for being here. Yeah, that's exactly right, Joel. Joel says, I am just an old hick from the sticks, but in my opinion, the only real truth we know is none of us are getting out of this alive. Loving kindness works for me. Hope it does for you. Night Sky Fire, so good to see you. Good morning. Phoenix Book Girl, PBG's in the house. Anthony, so good to see you. Coming out of a cult, is it almost completely impossible to believe in any other religions or beliefs? Um, for me, sort of. Because now now I need to see someone actually, I don't know. I don't know. I guess what you sort of do is you make do without that dynamic, if you will, because it's safer. It's just more comfortable, you know. I mean, I sort of feel like right now in 2026, I feel like okay, if there is a God, right? He knows I'm an idiot and I'm doing my best. What do you want from me? You know what I mean? Like relax. If you're vengeful and stuff, you're probably going to kick my ass anyway, so whatever. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. And hopefully you're nice and everything is good for me. you know. uh, but really, the idea of just believing in something is just not as attractive as it probably would have been had I not gone through what I have. It's the best way I can answer it. Lori Marie, even Darth Vader showed some kindness. Yeah, and like I said, I'm not saying you can't do good, okay? And I think he did some good. I absolutely think Mike Rinder did some good, okay? Do I think that it anywhere near makes up for what he did? Not in my opinion. No. Okay. And he would, like I said, he has to go even extra far because if you're leaving as the nail and not the hammer, it doesn't mean much. So, um, you know, so like I say, there's just certain lines you can't cross. You're not going to be able to abuse children and be okay with me. It's just not going to happen. So, doesn't mean I couldn't, like still acknowledge somebody and whatever good they're doing. Okay. Um but how it ended up with Rinder, I think proved exactly my fears. So were borne out totally. Um and that's that. Um Again, these are not positions that I would hold a lot of people to. Like in other words, Rinder, Rathbun, Miscavige, Shelley, there's Davy. There's certain people it's just going to be a lot harder for me to forgive. Okay, than it's going to be for me to forgive someone who worked in the galley. Okay. Um, but the Remini part I wanted to get across too, because I'm like I said, I'm happy, very very happy that show happened. Very happy, but um, I'm just amazed at greed and it's crazy. It's crazy. Um, because it was a really unique position. Okay, like she was one of us in my eyes. So it's like, why would she then treat us like crap in my eyes? So that's just my opinion. I'm still very very grateful that she did what she did and that the show even occurred. Okay, and I think her star power had a lot to do with it. Um, but she really doesn't. Like I said, look how that ended. You know, the people that the show was for and are her enemies. It's just ridiculous. Not entirely, but you know what I'm saying. What did you say? If you're not pro Render, you're anti me, or if you have a problem with him, you got a problem with me. Okay, so be it. Gotcha. I mean, obviously that's no longer an issue, right? But I mean, it's just a really crazy. I'm like, I never would have thought I would have seen something like that. Never. So, um, you know, whatever. But I wanted to give my 2 cents on that, and um, A girl says the way they both hurt Miriam after they were out, continued to lie after they were out, and I will never forgive that or forget that. I'm not laughing at that. I'm laughing at David says, need a "Where is Mitzi Vader" shirt. um, but yeah, A girl, 100%. Yeah. Um, my pup, Phoenix Book Girl, my pup finally made it through the night with no seizures. Okay. He is doped up and barely moves because he doesn't trust the floor. LOL. I got some sleep. Okay. Hi, Linda. Um, just David, was Rinder just on an outside mission for COS double agent? I I don't think so, but I think I think he found out, like a lot of survivors find out, that if you're willing to attack the people attacking Scientology, you can make a lot of money. Um, you know, these are my opinions. That's it. Cheryl says it's why Rinder left this earth screaming about someone else, Scientologist, till the very end. Yeah, and like I said, there's people. If there's people who, if you were in, you can tell, still feel that way by how they talk. So, um, Rennie, 100%. Rennie says Render could have had a complete and true redemption story, but he never told the truth and buried so much heinousness to save his own skin. Rennie says every person who told their story on Aftermath were the most brave and courageous. I think they were literally putting their lives at risk. Sharona says Rinder had total control over Leia, and she never had a clue or didn't want to see it because it brought her so much attention and accolades. Accolades she didn't deserve, in my opinion, Sharona said. Cheryl, every sad story on the Aftermath show, Rinder knew about all of them already. He was involved in everything. There was nothing he didn't know about. And that's the thing, that, like, if you don't, if you weren't in Scientology, you don't know. If it isn't written, it isn't true. Every order is written down. You best believe. Okay. You can't just say, "Oh, Davey told me to do this." Oh, thank you so much, Linda. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your help. Um, you know, like, yeah. Let me see. Yeah. There's no possibility that someone's working on something that Render didn't know about. It's just not even possible. It's not even remotely possible. So, um, I know what you mean, Lori. There's, everyone has their opinion. I get it, and I can understand people with yours. Um, Sharona, there can never be any forgiveness for letting the open window for civil cases expire without a peep in California. To me, that proved, without a doubt, He never changed, and that's I could totally understand that opinion. Um, Rennie says, I still think it was Rinder's new post to control, handle, minimize Leah Remini's negative impact on the PR of Scientology. Boy, that's some next level thinking right there. That gives me chicken skin because that we'll never know. But wow, what a that's one way of that's heavy. um, Joel said, if Rinder had come clean and been honest, I would have been okay with him. But he was just as bad out as in. Just my opinion. That's what he's. That's from Joel, nicest man in the world. Ooh, Sharon is making spaghetti sauce and meatballs. Oh, heck yeah. Oh, wow. Sharona's mom's going to have a nice freezer full of food. Yummy. It smells so good at Sharona's house and Rennie's house. At Cheryl, when Cheryl's here, it smells like French cafe. um, hey, totally Jersey. Rewatching the aftermath, knowing more about MR, I see it very different. I bet. Isn't that funny? We got Jersey Jan, and then we got totally Jersey. Now, you wouldn't be called Jersey Jan if you weren't pretty Jersey, but totally Jersey is like even more Jersey. Put a one in the chat if you agree with that. Didn't Rinder and Rathbun want to infiltrate the independent Scientology movement? I mean, I don't know. I don't know how they could have. I mean, would you have trusted them? I don't know. Jersey Jan wrote two. That's funny. Uh, okay, totally Jersey says how much Mike Ritter used the pain of others to further his ego and bank account. When in the beginning I thought he was trying to help, really disgusts me. Also feel really gullible. Yeah, I wouldn't feel gullible. Like he was very, very believable. Okay, and like I said, he did good. He did some good things. He put a lot of eyes, a lot of attention on Scientology being a piece of crap, and I'm very grateful for that. But again, that doesn't then just all of a sudden mean that all the absolute horrificness goes away. And if it, like I said, the couple things at the end there are just way too much for me to get over. So I'm just, it's just, that's just, like I said, I felt like everything I felt from day one was borne out. That's all. Um, Night Skyfire, Jersey is my second favorite place I've ever lived. Totally Jersey. I'm in for Jersey tag team. Jersey Jan met Rinder in person. He had me fooled. Oh my God, that's a great point from Joel. Sadly, Rinder died angry and filled with hate. This is what happens when you can't face up to your mistakes. Yeah, that's awful. Yeah. Hello, Rachel. I mean, Rochelle. I'm sorry. I always do that, right? It's Rochelle, isn't it? Isn't that right? Um, but anyway, yeah. So that's what I wanted to cover today. I'm real happy you guys could spend some time with me. If the sun comes out, I'm gonna go do something later. And if it doesn't, I'm gonna do absolutely nothing. Rock on. And really appreciate you guys for being here and spending your morning with me. Uh, the absolute best chat in the world. I love you guys, and I will see you soon. They were named the Aftermath. I know, that's so ridiculous. Love you, Cheryl. Have a great day, everybody. Until next time.